Hello, welcome back to the Games Kingdom. My name's Carl King, and today we're going to be looking through the Quickstart guide for Shadows over Soul 2nd edition from Tab Creations. This has gone live on Kickstarter this week. Today is the 6th of August 2025. So if you found this and having a look at this video whilst the campaign is going on, if you've seen that there is a Quickstart guide that you can potentially download, this is what you will be downloading. So this sort of 80 odd page document stroke file is for you to have a look through to see what the game is all about. It's going to show you some sort of pre-generated characters. It's going to give you some of the nuances of the game, some of the sort of bits and pieces that you'll be up against, so sort of your stress, your panics, how to roll your characters up, how the characters are generated, how they look like when they are generated. So there's going to be some at the back here that we're going to see later on as we go through the document. But basically this is a free giveaway, so this is really nice that Tab Creations have sort of made this available for anybody who goes on and backs from the Kickstarter. You can download this if you wish, and as I say, you can either download it to your devices and then just read it off there. I've done that as well as obviously printing it out. This was sent to me prior to the campaign, and I must apologise, I was trying to get this done before it went live. Life got in the way, so today is the first attempt at getting this sort of sorted out and just showing you a quick flick through the pages. So I'm not going to be sort of here for long, not going to be doing it too in depth, just going to giving you an overview of what you get as this free quick start guide, because if you go on and sort of pledge, you'll get your own copy and you'll be able to sort of peruse through this at your leisure at much more in depth than I'm going to be showing you here. But we'll go through this and just sort of show you bits and pieces of what you can see for yourselves once you've downloaded it. So we've got the obviously the obligatory sort of index, so it'll tell you what page the bits and pieces are on. So if you're interested in a certain sort of thing to see how that works, you can find these at random sort of pages and things, but they're all like listed out here. So as you can see, you've got your intros, your dark futures, your saga machine, which is basically the sort of system that the game uses to run, and then you've got your memories and you've got your handouts and your characters at the back here. So as I say, we'll go through and show you everything. So obviously Shadows over Soul is a science fiction horror role-playing game. It's set about sort of 250 years in the future. So this is sort of, if you've seen, as you probably will have if you're interested in this sort of thing, you've probably seen Aliens, The Thing, all of those sort of sci-fi horror styled films. You may have read some books, some graphic novels around this sort of stuff, and if you have, and that's why you're here, you aren't going to be disappointed with this, because this draws heavily on that, and you'll be able to draw heavily from those sort of films and books and TV series to immerse yourself into games of this, either running them or playing them or both. So you know, this is going to be invaluable for you as a GM and also as a player, because it will give you, as I say, the nuances and how to play the game, and some bits and pieces of how things happen, why they happen, and some of the tables and things that you'll be looking at. So you've got your stress and your panic tables, that sort of thing, your wound charts, what happens to you. You know, you've got injury rolls, wounds, healing, everything is all sort of detailed in here. Obviously you're going to get a lot more in the actual book itself and the rule book. So this is just, as I say, a quick start guide that the guys have sort of kindly said, here you go folks, here's a quick look through, download this, and sort of whets your appetite for waiting for the game to arrive. So you've got your quick start contents, it'll sort of give you a bit of blurb. You've got welcome to the future, you know, the networked worlds of the dark future, because that's what the game is obviously based on. a dark future. You've got some very nice artwork, because obviously in role-playing games, unlike board games and stuff like that, or video games, your imagination is where this stuff happens. So if you've got a few pieces of artwork that you can show people or you can reference, then obviously that's going to fuel people's imaginations. You're going to show them some monsters, you might show them situations, or derelict ships, or space stations, or complexes on a planet. So all of those sorts of things, artwork is critical, and this has got some very nice artwork in it, so you won't be disappointed in those sorts of things. So as I say, we're going to flip through this. So you've got your things like your decline of your nation state, so, and the rise of the corporates. So again, like your things like your Weyland-Yutanis in various films of the Alien franchise, you can bring all of those sorts of things into these games as a GM, for your players to sort of stress over. You know, they might be sort of general workers, they might be military, they might be obviously your Marines, they might be just general grunts in the military, they might be, as I say, like miners on a colony, a bit like the Alien Romulus film. So all of those things you can draw on, you can put into these games and make them whatever you want, as difficult or as easy for your players to play and for you to sort of immerse yourself in, as well as them. So you've got, it's all still all about the money. So obviously, as again in some of those things, it's still very corporate. So, you know, the best things about those films is sort of the struggles of the people and the characters in it. So you can bring that into these games very, very easily. So you've got your Saga machine. So as I say, the Saga machine is the system that the game will be using. So this little quick start guide is going to tell you all about that and how it works. So it gives you all the things about your stats. So you'll obviously have strength, dexterity, speed, endurance, intelligence, perception, charisma, and determination. So your characters will have all of those, and just like in any other RPG, you're going to be working out the points and things for those stats, and that will give you how your character will do in certain situations in the game, and which character in your party will be better at attempting to do certain tasks or dealing with certain things at certain times, whether it's an easy task like picking locks or undoing, you know, data streams in a computer system, or fighting against xenomorphs or other characters or NPCs. All of these things will obviously help you choose which people and which characters are the best to do those things. So all of that stat line will help you do that. You've got all your skills listed, your skill ranks, your specialized skills, your skill lists. So you'll get to pick some of these. Again, this will tell you how and which ones that you can choose depending on what your characters and things are. So I'm going to let you obviously, as with a lot of these videos, when they say, you know, we'll let you discover this stuff on your own. So once you've downloaded this document, and if you want to download it, obviously get onto the Kickstarter and sort of do a pledge, even if it's only for, you know, a small amount to sort of kick yourself off in there. You'll then be able to get a downloadable copy of this document and read through it at your leisure. So again, as with any RPG, the game has a lot of tests and a lot of things, a lot of dice rolling will say whether or not you're successful in the things that you're attempting to do, whether that be fighting, and as I say, attempting opening doors, or flying spaceships, driving vehicles, machinery. All those sorts of things will all come down pretty much to a skill or a character test, and these documents and these tables will run you through with the GM, and they'll be able to tell you obviously how difficult they are. So you've got sort of trivial, easy, average, difficult, daunting, desperate, absurd, and impossible. So, and then you've got your target number, which you will have to roll on your dice to see whether you succeed in whatever you are doing, and what the GM has decided is going to be the difficulty level for the task that you've attempted to do. So you've got your boons and your banes. So like anything, there's good and bad stuff. You've got your opposed actions, pushing your luck, reducing stress, gaining an edge, whether that be over an opponent or monster or situation, stacking consequences, so effects of consequences. So again, you know, you've got all of these sort of things. You've got your consequence list, so you know, dazed, disabled, dying. So you know, it's not all sort of champagne and roses. Especially in games like this, you're going to have a lot of stuff to deal with, and that's going to immerse you in the world rather than just sort of going along and saying, oh yeah, we found a treasure, we found a gun, we found this, we found that, we got out without a scratch. Those games, you know, have been some of the most boring games I've played. The best games I've played of any RPG system is when things are going wrong. You've got to battle people, you've got to battle monsters, you've got difficulty getting out of a situation, whether it be a dungeon, a spaceship, anywhere like that. The more trouble you get into and then you get out of, they're the more memorable games, and this game is going to test you with things like that. So again, you know, you're going through here, you've got your stress and your panic, how you reduce the stress. You know, you've got your effects here, right up from hesitate to heart attack. So you know, it's a brutal world out there, and it hasn't got any better in 200 years. So you've got your combat, the rounds, the turn sequence, surprise, how to sort out attacks and attack circumstances. You've got your defense and your willpower, your reactions, your movement. All of this is going to be covered to a certain degree in this document to give you that flavour of how the game plays. So you've got your grave wound table, how to heal damage, perform first aid, and then obviously you've got your memories, you've got your synopsis, the timelines for your game and your character. So you know, you've got your preparing the session, running the session. So this is, as I say, for GMs and players alike, but you know, you can all read this just because it's about running the session. Your players are still going to need to potentially read this just to get a flavour of how the game and how the session is going to go, and gives them a bit of a sort of insight into what they need to do to immerse themselves and get the best out of the game. So you've got your different acts, you've got some maps of a spaceship, so, and that how to explore that. So again, this is just going to give you not necessarily something to play through, but it's certainly going to give you the flavour of how you will prepare people, if you're the GM, how you will prepare and what you may want to prepare for your party to encounter, whether that be a one-shot scenario or playing through a longer campaign. It'll give you details of the rooms, and then obviously we go through and we eventually get to, you've got your scenario gear, and then up here you've got your NPCs or your non-player characters. Every game, every decent RPG game will always have NPCs coming in from time to time. You might meet them again on an abandoned space station, in a bar, in a shop, literally just walking down the street, and you'll meet or find an NPC, and your party may strike up a conversation with them to try and find out some information. They might get into a bar fight with them, all sorts of things. So your GM and your party needs to be sort of ready for any eventuality to happen, and these pages will show you how the characters look when they're rolled up, what their stats look like, their skills, the description, the background. You can do this for your character, so reading them in here will give you a bit of a flavour of how to do that in the game for yourselves. So these sort of pages here at the back are a great sort of source of information and knowledge on how to sort of do that for yourselves within the game. If you played these games before, and if you played the first edition, you've probably got all of this in your head anyway. But if you're a new player to this system or any RPG system, and you've liked the look of getting into this one, then obviously this document's going to be an invaluable sort of starting point and kick-off point for getting into how the game is going to look and how your characters are going to look. So, you know, you could potentially just use some of these characters if you wanted to in a game. But as I say, more for me, they're used as a guide to helping me produce my own character and maybe even steal a few bits of information from the description and their background and put it into mine, which is what I've done before. Simply because, you know, the guys who are writing this stuff, you know, have done such a cracking job. You can use those little sort of tidbits in your own characters. So, as I say, that's the document. So you've got a future of hard sci-fi and horror awaiting you if you get into the Saga Machine system for Shadows over Soul by Tab Creations. So that's a quick look through the Quickstart guide. Second edition for Shadows over Soul on Kickstarter now, August 2025. Head over there if you like the look of this. And if you're over on the Kickstarter page and you've seen this or you've seen it on YouTube, then thank you for watching. As I say, this has been a sort of video produced by myself, Carl King, for the Games Kingdom in association with Tab Creations, and I thank them again for giving me this opportunity to sort of just do this quick little video for you. Hope that's given you a quick insight into how the game is going to look, how the book is going to be produced, and what your pages are going to look like, and whether you think this is something for you. And yeah, if you like this, head over to my YouTube channel, The Games Kingdom. Give this a like, maybe subscribe to the channel. From time to time I do giveaways and things of games, books, rule books that I've got. So subscribe, you may just be randomly picked out as a winner on my next giveaway, which is going to be within the next sort of 2 or 3 months. But yeah, primarily this one's for Shadows over Soul 2nd edition on Kickstarter now. So until we do another one of these, it's bye for now.